Hi, Dudley Stokes here again, LCP, and welcome back to our second part, Principles of Life. Now, remember, these principles I'm going through with you are high-end stuff. Unless we are healthy and already practicing sustained peak performance, we won't be able to really draw the true value from these principles of life and live in an effective way. CS meets our criteria: simple, inexpensive, effective, and sustainable. In part 2, we're going to look at offensive action, surprise, security, and concentration of force. So that's the MOSC. So remember our acronym MOSEFCA. Maintenance of morale, offensive action, surprise, security, concentration of force, economy of effort, flexibility, cooperation, and administration. Today we get through these 4. Firstly, offensive action. Now, I use another army analogy. Even in retreat, an army, in order to maintain its organization and save as many soldiers and equipment as possible, needs to prevent that retreat from becoming a rout, meaning disorganized and panic, fleeing in panic while the enemy picks you off from all sides. And the way that an army does that is through rearguard actions, which are units that mount small attacks to cover the retreat. So in Napoleon's famous retreat from Moscow, he had a Marshal Ney, bravest of the brave, who covered the retreat from Moscow with a series of numerous small offensive actions, usually with cavalry. And that allowed some of the army to survive. It was a major catastrophe for Napoleon and for France. But it would have been much worse were it not for those offensive actions. So you need to live in an aggressive way, not towards other people and so on. You need to live in a way where you're looking for what you can do, looking for some positive action that you can take regardless of your situation. If you are in a really bad and tough situation, you need to look for small actions with a high likelihood of success. Just to try to turn around your fortunes and keep you in the habit of always trying to go forward. And you need to keep an eye out for unusual actions, things that you can do that might be unusual, not anticipated by others around you. And this takes us quite nicely into surprise, which is the next principle. So this is surprise. This is not shock. This is things that you can do that are unexpected. So first, to surprise yourself. So you need to get your heart to race a little bit every day. You need to get some adrenaline going. You need to take some action, something a little risky. It doesn't have to be bungee jumping or so on. There are lots of small little things you can do to create just some excitement in you. And you should scare yourself in this way, small way, at least once a day. Surprise yourself. And then look for ways to surprise others with unexpected positive actions that you take in your life and as you live in, that will be a pleasant surprise to people that you come into contact with. And then look to continually surprise your colleagues, your customers, your competitors, and your bosses. Either by, you did some extra reading, some research, you know something that's a little different, you do this little bit more, or you have an idea that's unconventional, but become known as somebody who is full of surprises. And then look for the opportunities where you can do, where the unexpected is possible. And look for them everywhere. You just have to have a mindset where everything you look at, it's going on in the back of your mind is what if I did it here would be unexpected. Now this is something that a lot of people do. A lot of people like to trek I'm going to leave this job, or I'm not coming in next week, or I'm going to go and do a course and get a degree, or I'm going to go and get a skill. And people threaten and threaten and threaten. Never threaten. Never broadcast your intention. Never tell anybody what you want to do. Everything you do should be sudden and surprising. So security. Firstly, if you're planning a surprise, you don't want people to know ahead of time. Otherwise, it's no longer a surprise. So this comes down to security. You need to keep your information secure, especially in this day and age, and to keep your employer's information secure, especially in this time of working from home and all over the place. We need to password protect everything, avoid insecure websites, and by insecure I mean any website you don't know about, suspicious email messages. Just don't interact with these things. Now, the same tricks that are played on our minds by marketers to get us to buy things we don't need, and by politicians to get us to vote and to believe things that aren't necessarily so. Those same tricks are the main tools of the trade of hackers. They exploit human vulnerabilities and the way we see and feel about ourselves, and that is where our biggest insecurity lies. So we need to develop the sort of mentality where we are aware of our human vulnerabilities, and we're able to stop, even as we are reacting automatically to the stimuli, to find that brief space in which we can stop, think, and act differently. Your personal security is very important. Your daily movements, you need to think about how it is, where you take the bus, where you're going, what time of day you're traveling, which neighborhoods you're traveling through, where you live, what kind of security does your house need, extra locks, extra bars on the window, is it a pretty secure place, who lives around you, do they mean you're good or evil? And at work, you have to assess the nature of your work and the nature of the risk. If you're working as a teller in a fast food store, you might be at higher risk than if you're working as a secretary in an insurance company. Whatever, if you're driving in an Uber after work, then that workplace has its vulnerabilities as people get in behind you. And of course, at play, what's going to happen? Who am I going out with? Am I going to get drunk? How am I getting home? Who's going to look after me? Who's the designated driver? Does this guy have my interest at heart, or is he after me? You've got to think about those things. The security. Concentration of force, the key principle. And this is one of the ways that human beings work. We talk about people who can multitask. Actually, there's no such thing as multitasking. In multitasking, we're just switching from one task to another very rapidly. Our brains actually don't hold very well more than one thing at a time, and we need to exploit that by doing first things first, second things not at all. Focus the majority of our resources on the high priority goals, as time, money, and our energy, physical and mental. Concentrate on what you have in front of you, what you decided to do. You'll get it out of the way quicker and you can move to the next thing. Also, you need to keep your head in it, i.e. to stay concentrated on what you're doing until you get to the designated break or the breakthrough. Remember, change is as good as a rest, and while I don't recommend multitasking, I recommend switching between tasks after an hour and a half maximum, but changing it up so that your brain starts to fire some different neurons and you come at it with a fresh perspective. Know your best time of day to work, to study, how your rhythms, and try and organize yourself so that you bring in your highest priority tasks to your highest energy time of day or night. And use our KAKA system. You remember, for the right tension, to make sure that you're in the right tension all the time throughout the day as you bring your force to bear on a problem and then change it. So what? We set the table, and that is selection and maintenance of aim and the maintenance of morale. And now we're ready to work. Offensive action. Look for the chance to be aggressive. Surprise. Unexpected positive actions. Security. Keep your person and your information safe. And concentration of force. First things first. And second things, not at all. Thank you. We'll soon be up with the third and final part, and then you'll have a full set of tools to apply to your life. So please check us out on Patreon. If you're not already a member, sign up, support us, and help us to keep delivering this content, which I hope you're finding good and helpful. So bye for now.